Let's switch to what is what is a Suikoden game if you don't have characters, and many of them. Actually, we have some for at the time being. We have Noah, which seems to be the hero. You were already mentioning him, Magus, telling us that you find it's pretty obvious, but still we can go for an in-depth analysis. It was some kind to you. It was some kind of mixing of characters, and especially mix of the heroes in the game. Can you tell us which characters do you see, and what do you see on an overall vision of the characters?
Mm-hmm. Well, I see a reference to I think it was Ryu from the second one.
Mm-hmm.
With his double tonfa,
Yeah.
or also the main character from the fourth episode. I forgot his name. You can see the definitive style with the clothing and hairstyle and general design of a lot of the other characters. So I can see that Mehdi, you're checking.
Yeah, I'm looking.
Yeah,
I forgot his name too. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I can recognize that approach and that style from the others, but also distinctive enough because the weapons are a bit different, and but still similar in style. So yes, it seems interesting. Maybe it's going to be some sort of spellcaster, because those look like a bit more like magic wands
Yes.
than necessarily melee-based weapons. So maybe some sort of hybrid character.
Exactly. Yeah. 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 And it's actually just two things. From the look of it, it's yeah, is actually agree with Razro. Some of the fans were mentioning Kirill from Suikoden Tactics, and from what you were telling us of the kind of magic ones. I'm really thinking not of Suikoden, but of Kingdom Hearts. You know, it really looks like the
Like a
dual
keyblade.
yeah, the dual-handed keyblades, actually. So I think that's a very interesting kind of mix that Junko Kawano made here, and a little bit of look of chill, also maybe without the
Yeah,
I'm
the
losing.
red clothes.
Yeah, exactly. So that's it for Noah. What do we know about him? Just looking for my notes. I'm sorry, I'm not yet. I didn't learn them by heart for the time. Yeah,
No
here's Noah.
problem.
He's pretty old for hero, I would say, because in general the heroes in Suikoden are pretty young. We were looking for when doing the let's play of Suikoden 1, that Teal, the heroes of Suikoden 1, is actually 13, which is pretty young, but Noah is actually 17. And from what they are telling us is that he's coming from a remote village in the League of Nations, and his favorite food is anything with meat in it. So maybe some kind of pan kind of characters. So I won't be reading the whole description, but what is interesting is that they're referring to some kind of League of Nations that recruits warriors to assist in a joint expedition with the Galdine Empire. So he's asking to leave his village. So we have this classical narration with the hero leaving his village to test his skills and embrace the world. So it's not nothing new here. And
Yeah.
and we are told that he's also joining some kind of unit in the league's border guard afterward, and so he's a protagonist is the leap before you look type, what is what the team is telling us in the press release, and it doesn't always weigh the pros and cons before springing into action. This one is interesting because from what I remember, the previous heroes, if this one is actually, you know, the heroes in the sense we already had in the previous Suikoden series, the heroes in the Suikoden series in general may, only if you count out of Hugo, they are pretty wise and pretty calm. This one maybe is it's pretty new to get some kind of
Yes, but on the other hand, for a good part of the series, the heroes were kind of the silent type,
yes,
the characters that wouldn't speak, so you could imprint as much of your chosen personality onto it as possible, as you mentioned, with the maybe notable exception of the characters from the third episode, because there wasn't one single main character, but rather you saw a story from different perspectives, which is what was so interesting with that game in particular. But that also meant that individually they had more character development and more personality than the main heroes. So yes, I could see that this is a typical optimistic teenager that wants to change the world and bring world peace and do his best. And as you said, that would charge ahead before thinking, and bit of a more instinctive type than the wait, collect information, and react strategically that we would get from more older characters.
Yeah. And before I go further on, to let you know about the stories, if you didn't read about it yourself, we are starting in what they call the continent of Arahan, so Allraan, and this city is described as a tapestry of nations with diverse cultures and values. So that's interesting, the kind of cosmopolitan vibe they want to give you with this first place where you start the game. It's also reminding me, but in general you have it in most of the Suikoden, in most of the Suikoden series. You can have this kind of wide range of humans and other races, but it's reminding me maybe of True River, with the, you know, the fact of having kobolds with humans, with the wingers, with a lot of so it's pretty close from the city of True River. You seem to agree, Magus?
Yeah, indeed. I like the idea of the League of Nations that they mentioned. It's kind of a callback to the second episode, as you said, with the Two Rivers, but also the city state of
Jobson? Jobstone?
Yes, Georgetown, thank you, which was a loose alliance of several city-states rather than a single centralized state. And so there might be something similar in this approach, how they have brought up an alliance. And undoubtedly there's going to be treachery or people who don't want to be invested as much in the conflict, which will lead to complications and the characters having to go on diplomatic recruitment missions, etc., etc.
And we have Game the One, who's asking us about the Kickstarter goal, to remind you, which is $500, and he's asking us if we think that is it reachable. We actually discussed it beforehand. To let you know again, is that what we think is that the first main answer is that it is going to. It depends on what they reveal tomorrow for the Kickstarter campaign. They are speaking of a trailer, which is I would say the least they could do. So that's the first factor, and probably also the different stretch goals. So my answer is pretty lame, pretty obvious, but yeah, it doesn't, though it doesn't seem that crazy for me to reach, knowing the lot of I would say sleeping fans. I'm looking for the word in French, dormant. You know,
Yeah, dormant community.
yeah, dormant community. So I wouldn't be that surprised that they could reach it. I don't know about you, Magus. We discussed it before.
Well, I have maybe a different perspective.
Uh-huh.
I did a bit of research on crowdfunding, and so my information is 2 or 3 years old, but the average amount of money raised in a Kickstarter campaign is about $5,000. So that's if you take into account all of the Kickstarter campaigns.
Yeah.
Of course, there are people that do Kickstarters for a bowl of potato salad, and you don't need $500,000 for that kind of business or that kind of project. A video game is a bit more expensive, a lot more expensive, but it's a medium, that it's an average. That means that some people will get $2 million, some people like Star Citizen will get $200 million, and others will get a lot less. For me, that sounds very ambitious. $500,000 is a budget, and with that they could probably developed a game with a small team. They might need a bit more if they go multi-platform. So I guess it's a good size of a budget. If they rely only on Kickstarter, that's kind of dangerous, because as you said, you rely a lot on a community that hasn't necessarily been I wouldn't say stimulated, but hasn't been active in quite a lot of time. So it's a big unknown. Yeah. We don't know. I would definitely want them to succeed. It could be done. Just because it seems ambitious doesn't mean they can't succeed, and they might even reach it in less than a week. But they also might fall very short of it. So. Yes, I want to be careful in my approach, but to give you my full answer, it seems ambitious, and it's I'm afraid they might not get to it, even though there's also the possibility that because there hasn't been anything similar to this in quite a lot of time, it might get a lot of traction, and it might fit the particular niche that a lot of people were hoping for.
Yes. Yeah, I totally agree. Maybe, and I really hope so. I really hope for them that's going to be the case, that they will get some other support. But what is also interesting is that that's something I often discuss with my friends, because I'm from France, so you can totally hear it with the accent. But it's I would say with the people from the US, the English speakers in general, it's not an absolute truth what I'm going to say, but they tend to be to have less problem to give money, like if it really reach them, it's okay, that's crazy, I like it, man, so here it's some kind of a cliche, but I've seen it already, even going at some night. Okay, you have this project here it is, take my money and try this. But at the same time, I would go on the wise side of Magus. I'm really expecting some kind of solid announcement tomorrow, probably with some kind of guests. That's my main guess, is that they have guests. So they were speaking about Motori Sakuraba. They maybe if they can capitalize on this kind of
Yeah.
announcement, this
Yes.
kind of features. Maybe
That's true.
they could do a difference. I'm also thinking of two very successful Kickstarter campaign from Japanese games, which were Bloodstain, which was also a spiritual sequel,
Successor.
successor coming also from an old Konami game, and the other one before that was Mighty Number 9, and it was two. I'm not speaking of Shenmue because it's very special, it's very special Kickstarter campaign and very special case, but. When I'm thinking of these two games, the first one, Mighty Number 9, it was actually it was pretty good move for Inafune and his team, because they had a lot of money, something like $1.5 million or even more. Igarashi went with the Bloodstain was also skyrocketing about a day or so with I think what they are asking for Eiyuden. I think he reached like $300 or $500 in 1 or 2 days. It was like crazy. But the really big problem, and that's where I'm joining Magus, is that people have seen this project. Some of them were successful. Bloodstain was actually a good and solid experience. Mighty number 9, not that good.
Not so much.
Yeah, and in every case, it took some time. So what I would say, and it would be my final word about it, is that people tends to be very cautious for now. With all that doing. So anyway, we see what's going to happen tomorrow.
But if I might add in something to
please do so.
Weigh in on your mention of bringing in the big names, and that's true. Tip the balance into Kickstarter campaigns is when they manage to get star power, as in get a famous figure to contribute, and I think Sakuraba could be that potential name, and that's why they said that they might have other guest stars. If you can get someone famous or recognizable in addition to a famous license or IP, then it might make the difference, and I sincerely hope so.
Yeah.
And they're putting as many cards or chips on their side to make it successful. But yes, it's really make it or leave it. Having this high a bar for the initial funding, maybe that 500,000 includes the port to consoles. And in which case that could be much more reachable. If it's just for the Steam version, then that could be a problem. But yes, we'll see when we get more information.
Yeah, definitely. The fact of mentioning that they are going for PC at first and then consoles, and it's not that clear. And we are going to see tomorrow on which kind of consoles do they need any extra stretch goals to go on that console. It's going to be a very important point for the people to invest, because just today I was speaking with two of my friends, and they were like, okay, it's going on Switch, or I'm not buying it, or I'm not even giving money for it, for the pledging for it. So we know how decisive can be the games, and especially the RPGs on the Nintendo Switch. So I think they really, I really hope that they are well prepared. So we were on the characters, and we have Joy Karma in the chat telling us about Hansung's story, which was to him the worst Kickstarter for game ever, and telling us that almost never updated the fans for 2 years. Wow, wow, wow. Okay. Then sold the rights to another company and took all the money and ran. Wow, the game was never released. Well,
Yes, I think now that you mention it, I think I read something about this story, and unfortunately, that can happen. It has happened. There have been instances of similar things. I think it was, well, not as bad with Kingdom of Amalur, but
yeah,
the creator was someone who had invested from his own fortune to start the company, and he got a lot of funding from the United States government and local states. Investments, and then he didn't pay his employees for 6 months
wow.
and ran away with the rest of the treasury. And so people had to relocate and cross half of the US to get to work on the game, and they got paid for a small amount of time, and but mostly worked for free. And then they had to get back with their whole family and with no money, and getting in a place where there was no real offer in terms of video game development. So yeah, from a development perspective, that was also a bad experience. But for the players, it was a rather successful game for a team or a company that had put together their first game, and if for the least the game was released, so people could play it, as opposed to Unsung Story. Indeed, that seems like a horrible move.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's hope that we don't get anything similar like that. And considering the reputation of the people involved, I don't think that's a risk. But that's kind of the point. Usually, Kickstarter tries to be careful with what they go for, and that's why you don't have to pay until the funding goal is met and people get their money back if it isn't. So. Yeah, let's hope it doesn't get to that.
Yeah, and I'm joining you about the fact that they are considering their reputation, and the fact that they are also, it's not kind of a cliche, but as a Japanese, I mean, it's pretty tight in the industry, and there's not as much some kind of scandals like this in Japan comparing to Europe or the US. But you never know. But I really I really think that it won't be the case in this situation. Let's get back to a more to a happier kind of topic. And thank you so much, Game the One, for the follow. Thank you. So I was speaking about the Galdin Empire, where you can find the continent of Olran, and we have an interesting information before going further with the characters. It's telling us that by way of magical objects known as rune lenses, very interesting, the lens history has been shaped by the alliances and aggressions of the humans, beastmen, elves, and desert people who live there. So we were telling you beforehand, we have the tapestry of nations. It's confirmed in this second sentence, and we have this kind of rune lenses they already told us about, and that we kind of figured out with the use of magic in the game, but it was not confirmed before we get the press release that it was going to be something referring to runes. So they are also mentioning the Galdin Empire. Galdin is Jaldean. Has hedged out other nations and discovered a technology that amplifies the rune lenses magic. Now the Empire is scouring for the continent for an artifact that will expand their power even further. It's one such expedition, etc. So there is this kind of expedition I was talking about with Noah. So the hero, let's say the hero for now, and however, twist of fate, blah blah blah. What is very interesting, I don't know what you think about, but when I hear about the Galdin Empire and their project, I'm hearing Harmonia.
Yeah, yes, there is a callback to Harmonia, and also, strangely enough, it reminded me a little bit of Final Fantasy IV,
Oh yeah.
where they were going for the crystals
Mm,
to try to increase their power and go for world domination. Even though you could say that's kind of a not cliche, but a usual trope: the evil empire that wants to
mm,
increase its power through magic or technology to because it's imperialistic. So yes, you could definitely go for Harmonia, even though it's interesting because in the main series they've been portrayed as this evil empire, but not necessarily imperialistic in the sense that they aren't power hungry. They don't seem to go and want to conquer everything.
yeah,
That was something that was referenced in the story, that they had a past, they had established puppet states, like that of oh, I forgot the name.
because there are a lot of them, the Carians, no?
No, yeah, Koreans, but I was thinking about the main opposition, Highland
Ah,
with the
okay.
Beast Rune,
Yes, of
uh,
course.
and they had set up that state
Mm,
earlier. But yeah, so I could see that, and
mm,
again, they seem to be going for something of familiar territory, a
mm,
theme that we could recognize with the runes, with the evil empire,
mm.
and that's promising. It's something we could recognize, something we appreciate, something that has been tested. We know that it
Yes.
works.
And speaking of which, we have another character. He's here it is. We're speaking of Harmonia. I guess if you are familiar with Suikoden, you are totally uh, recognizing the kind of outfit with the blue and white and some kind of, I would say, fusion between the maybe the one worn by Mikkeltoff, the Knight of Matilda, and
Yeah.
also but with the face of Luke. I'm seeing a lot of Luke in this character, and this character is called Sign. I would say Sign or Sign. It's spelled Seign. Sign Kessling. And this
Hmm.
guy is 18 years old. Is a noble house. Is living in a noble house in the Galdian Empire, so you can see the contrast with the our hero Noah. And his favorite food is a little bit more delicate than anything with meat in it. To quote Noah, it's poached eggs. And what are they telling us about him? He's a second born to House Kessling, powerful imperial family. So he has a brother died on the battlefield and is exceptionally gifted. So we have also this kind of trope with the guy coming from a rich family, gifted, etc., etc., and very successful in the military. So I'm not reading everything of it. He's also working on the strategic mind, which allows him to analyze things from broad perspective, etc.,
Hmm.
etc. And he's telling what is very important. They are telling us after his brother's death during a border rebellion, Singh began to think long and hard about what it means to fight. And there is a quote of the character which is telling us, "I can dream all I want, but it won't change a thing. The world is not that kind. So if the only way to achieve my ideals is to betray them first, that I will do that unflinchingly. You have my word." So it's pretty interesting because we have this kind of deep characters that you can see as a at first when you don't have any experience in reading books or playing video games when you are young, like we were when we discovered
Hmm.
Suikoden. You can see him as a very some kind of the perfect antagonist, coming
Hmm.
for he's a rich guy, coming very successful in everything he's doing, but at the same time, you have this kind of trope or cliche, name it like you want, of this kind of deep trauma about his brother's death. And the other thing, I'm about to let you tell us, Magus, what you think of it, but there is a screenshot I showed you before, one of the first one, which is interesting because is actually not fighting but opposed to Noah, to the hero. So maybe at first you can tell us what do you think of him. I would say visually speaking and also story wise speaking.
Hmm. So, in terms of character design, they look very complementary,
Mm,
both in style, both in the colors. Blue and red seems like opposition, and like Picard says, they seem like a good complementary duo, like Joey and Ryu from Suikoden 2.
exactly.
Uh, and also in terms of character stereotypes and tropes. So the first character is probably the heart of the team. He's the one who's optimistic, who rushes into the fight to save his loved ones or save the day. Whereas Singh would be more of the brains, the more cynical character that realizes after some soul searching that he has to be like this if he wants to achieve his goals. Very much like Joey, in fact,
Mm,
from Suikoden 2.
totally, yeah.
And
Barcart
it also
in
means that they are a good duo because they are complementary. They are different enough that they are clearly separate, but also they can contribute something completely different to the team and to the story. I guess they
yeah.
can balance each other very well.
Yeah, and Barkart in the chat. I hope I'm pronouncing it well and better that the name of Saigon is totally agreeing with you. Thinking of Joey, and
Yeah.
we have the screenshot with Noah telling Saigon, "You fight because you want more. I fight because I can't bear to lose anymore." And you know, when I see that, we let's put on the side the fact of is the game about to be fulfilled, the pledge be fulfilled, but
Mhm.
uh,
Yeah, let's assume it's successful.
successful, thank you. But when I see that, you know, I can find the same kind of script and the subtlety of the script you had in Suikoden. In just, you know, in just one two sentences actually,
Hmm.
both of the characters are defined, and their goals and what they want to achieve and how they want to achieve it in just two lines,
Hmm.
and I
Yeah.
really like it.
And not just the lines, but this whole screenshot. It's like a perfect character introduction. We
Yeah.
see the two characters that are on the same level, and they're talking. They seem to be friends from the way they talk, but
Mm,
also have a different approach and different philosophy. And just that sets up the situation in a very brilliant and subtle way.
yeah, totally. And that's not relevant, but there are cats on the screenshot, so that's also perfect. Two of them.
It's always relevant to mention cats.
Actually, there are three if you count the one on my avatar just below the one of Magus. Anyway, all jokes aside, so we are done with for now with Segn. We have Marissa with a very interesting. I'm going to repeat myself a lot, telling you very interesting design. Marissa is just right here. So we are done with Sag and Noah, and Marissa is there. So Marissa is so a black woman. If we take, of course, our human and real life standard, if we goes on Suikoden ones, we can find some similarities to the Koreans, of course, with the characters of Lucia that we can find at the end of Suikoden 2, and the characters of Hugo and all the others guys such as Wyatt and which what's the name? There is a third one, an old one you recruit in the Suikoden 3. Anyway, I'm going to to put too much time to find his name, and so let's start with just the visuals. What do you think of her?
Well, yes, as you mentioned, it seems to be a bit more ethnic background and style, tribal maybe, and definitely reminiscent of Koraya. I like the design of her chest piece with the
Yes.
round forms. That's quite distinctive from the other two characters. So we can see that she seems to be from a different part of the world. Also, with the aura around her hand, she seems to be a potent magic user. And so we get another difference in approach, whereas the other two characters seem to be more militaristic, more brawny in style. She's probably more of the support type, or maybe the damage dealer from the back seat, taking from the back lines instead of the front lines.
Okay. Well, all I can tell you is that you are good because just with if you didn't read and I think you didn't anything about her, you are pretty good analyst. So we have Marissa, which is she hasn't any family name, so it's just Marissa. So she's 16 years old. She's one of the guardians who watches over the forest. So you actually manage to find this kind of sense of places. Favorite food is herb chicken, and she's she's a young member of the Guardians, a clan that allows and protect the forest. And since Marissa was very little, a family has instilled their ways and tradition in her. She has worn a fabled smile, except on the battlefield, where she wears the countenance of a warrior. So they are going more in depth about the warriors. This tends to be not on the same level of the world cultures and technology. Not against integrating the part of technology, but it doesn't make sense to them. And what do we have again? That protagonists try to win their camp. Yes, over the generations, the Guardians have developed a unique method of wielding the rune lenses. Interesting stuff. For that reason, both the Empire and the protagonists try to win them over to their camp. Whom the Guardians choose will prove to be a major turning point in history. So we have this kind of characters blessed with magic and power from the ancient times that she's going to protect. I'm thinking of the the woman village in Suikoden 3. I'm losing the name of it's Almakinan, if I remember correctly. This kind of village in the forest, only with the women characters, and she's very interesting on the design and on her backstory, and she has a quote which is, "You just leave the forest to me. I know where the water springs, where the rabbits burrow, and most importantly, where your enemies will try to hide." So it's very on the nature and magic side.
Something of a more druidistic approach, or shaman. More druidistic actually.
And I really like, in addition to all your analysis, I like on a wand the moon and star attached to it, which once again reminds me of the kind of design of the weapons in Kingdom Hearts. Once again, it's very close. To me. So let's move on to who do we have next? It's marriage. I'm just looking for we still have. Do you have some time to? So we have 1, 2, 4 characters left to analyze. Is that too much for you, or?
No, I'm still there. I'm still happy
Okay, thank you so
to talk
much.
with you.
Thank you so much. Just asking to be sure. So we have Melridge that you are going to see appear, and Melridge is looking. Where is he? I have charms. Yeah, here it is. And pretty interesting as well. Putting him here, and just sorry for the fans, but we are leaving Marissa for the time being. So Melridge, we it's pretty obvious that even without remembering the description, that we have this kind of artistically, so maybe I don't even remember if he's a fighter or just some kind of scribe. So let's check it out together. He's 27 years old. He also doesn't have a family name. He's a scholar of natural history. Yeah, his favorite food is duck soup. I always love the Japanese
Food part.
with
Yeah.
the food part, and sometimes they have the blood type also, because Japanese are very fond of the blood types and foods in their animes and games characters. So he's a young scholar who specializes in natural history. He yearns to know of every last thing in the world and exactly how it got there. He also happens to be a genius tactician, and will be a valuable asset to the protagonist. That said, he views warfare as the most pointless of all human endeavors, and any personal contribution to it as a complete waste of time. And his quote is like, "You should lay down arms and surrender. That's the quickest way to end this." No? Very well. Then I suppose I'll provide you with the next best thing, a winning strategy. Okay, so where could we start? I like the kind of funny and cocky style he has. He on this side is remembering me of not on the design, but just on the his state of mind. I'm thinking of Caesar in Suikoden 3. This kind of funny, like looking like goofy but very serious inside tactician. So Caesar, if you don't remember, is from the Silverberg family, the very famous Silverberg that you find Matthew in the first one, and Leon as well in the first and second one. What do you think of him?
Yeah, I was about to say it's also a blending of Shu from Suikoden 2, as in he isn't really interested in war, and he's a brilliant strategic mind. I could also, considering he's an older character from the ones we've seen so far, it reminded me also maybe a bit of Gen and Commando from Suikoden 1, as in the scientific innovators, the brilliant minds that aren't necessarily attracted by war, the creative types, but also still very, very intelligent. So yes, he doesn't seem to be armed with any kind of weapon, so he's probably not going to be a fighter type, or maybe he has a sort of magic or rune related to art and painting, and he can use that as a weapon to maybe manipulate reality or physics and stuff like that. But it seems to be a different kind of character, also very interesting to fill in a different niche. Again, very different from the 3 characters we've seen so far before that one.
Yeah, I agree with that. So let's skip to the next one, Gar, and we are going to leave the humans with a new type of characters, close from the wolves or even werewolves type. As you can see, here it is. There. So, what about him? He's a 32 years old. Profession, we have warrior in a clan of mercenaries. Okay, and once again, I like the favorite food. It's very specific. Pancakes slathered with whipped cream. So I really like this one. Almost my favorite before the next one, but I'll tell you why. And it is described as a veteran beastman warrior. He and his clan make their living as mercenaries, and their vast experience and sheer brutality put them in high demand. War is all Gar has known, and to him, life is one battlefield after the other until you die. When the conflict breaks out, every army wants as many beastmen as it can afford, because mercenary contracts are made with individuals and not the entire clan. It is not uncommon for Gar and his fellow beastmen to face each other as enemies in the field. I was sensing that coming.
Mhm.
And his quote is like, only a soft-brained leader runs headlong into danger. Anyone who knows what's good for him will tell you you have lost it, kid. But not me. If Blaze of Glory's your thing, count me in. We all die in the end. Might as well make it interesting. Okay. So, Magus,
That's
what do you
interesting.
think? Yeah.
Well, for me, I'm very interested in this character because he reminds me of one of my favorite, if not my favorite, in the
Ah.
Suikoden saga, which is Gedo from Suikoden 3, as in the jaded mercenary. He's the character who's seen a lot of things. He's traveled, he's fought on most sides in any given war, and he sees war for what it is, a dangerous business. And the mercenaries, their job is basically taking money, fighting for
Yeah.
people, and trying not to get killed in the process. They are not, how would I say that, fanatic or zealous in their approach. They do their job and they try to make it out alive. But he's also interested in glory, so it's kind of a different approach. He's not necessarily the blasé type that just does it as a job. He's interested in good fights. He seems to be good at it, and he will bring a bit more experience and veterancy to the squad. So yeah, a very interesting character. And I haven't even talked about the design
Oh,
or the
yeah.
fact that he's a beastman, which is something that's always been interesting in Suikoden, is to have different characters and different races to bring their different perspective and abilities.
Yeah, yeah. What I really like, what is triggering me the most is the fact that we can expect to. It's almost plainly and specifically written that other of his own kind are also working as mercenaries, and is on a very often basis have to struggle with them. So I'm expecting a lot on the drama or the tragedy it could lead to, or even on the kind of union probably at the end it could
Yeah.
lead to. And just a final note is that I don't know why, but the mercenary type, of course your comparison with the ghetto was the best one, but I was thinking of the ninjas also as well.
Yeah.
Not in the sense that they are hidden, etc., in the hidden village, but when they're summoned, they're just right there, and they are very good in what they do, and you know the drill.
Yeah,
So
exactly. And also, it just struck me as interesting. It's kind of the fantasy approach to Mandalorians from the Star Wars universe, as in professionals, people who have a distinct culture based around warfare and mercenaries that are very good at it and also very distinctive. And so that's definitely something interesting to look forward to.
perfect. And that leads us to Leon, and I'm pretty sure that's going to be not my favorite, but probably at least at the start of the game, one of my main characters. Where is she? There she is. I will let you know why. I think if you are familiar with RPG, you will see some kind of elements that could guess why. And here comes a description. So she is 16 years old. She is a martial art. In the description there is dojo, so I guess they forgot dojo master or student, I don't know. And I like favorite food. It's super spicy ramen, so we have that in common too. Anyway, so she's described as after the Empire's forces invade League lands, Leon is infuriated, and runs away from home without even the slightest semblance of a plan. She decides the first thing to do is hoof it to the biggest town she can find, and luckily that's where she meets the protagonist and his companions. Leon was born in a dojo, and her father wasted no time in teaching her. She was doing roundhouse kicks before she even learned to walk properly. And the quotes goes like, maybe I'm dubbing this down a little, but like, if a bunch of arrogant swine strut into your home and started acting like they own the place, what would you do? Because there is your answer. So, a lot to say about her. I guess you all already figured out that I like the kind of daredevil character, goofy character as well. It reminds me a little bit, not on the design, but on in a state of mind of Vicky. Like, she's acting without knowing what is surrounding her. Sorry. Not as goofy as Vicky, but because I don't think there is anyone goofier than Vicky, and I really like the design and the style, the fighting with hands and probably feet. If I have to refer to Suikoden, it reminds me. To me, it's a mix between Nanami from Suikoden 2 and also Wakaba, which is fighting with the kicks, and she's a young
martial artist.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I really like this kind of character. I don't know about you, if that's your type or not.
So there's several parts of there to analyze, and yes, I enjoyed Nanami as the headstrong big sister protector type that will do what it takes to take down the bullies. And I also loved Wakaba in Suikoden 2. But in general approach, in terms of anime characters, I'm not necessarily that attracted to this type of female characters or personalities, but I think it's an interesting complement as well, and we'll see how she fits in with the rest of the team and how close she gets with them, and if she acts like a big sister type or not. But yes, definitely a mix between Vicky, Wakaba, and mostly Nanami. From Suikoden 2.
Yeah, I understand that you don't find her, I would say, special. Not that you don't like her at all, but yeah, I totally understand why. She's also reminding me of it's the same kind of trope, but Chie from Persona 4 and 4 Golden. So we'll see. I like the way that she's the kind of goofy characters, and you always need to have some kind of
comic relief.
Exactly. Exactly, and for the time being, she's the only one we know, because we are once again, for the last characters, getting back to serious business and very serious look with Mio. So Mio is I would not say the opposite, but we are getting back to, I would say, serious business as I resize it. Sorry, here it is. So first, I'm really into design just before anything else. Very simple at the same time, but it's very gorgeous, and I like what they done with the kind of. I know that there is a specific name with this kind of robe in martial arts, but I don't remember it. So anyway, so Mio, she's 27 years old. So she's if I'm counting, no, she's not the oldest one. The oldest one is Gar, but she's same age as Melridge, the tactician, and she's coming from the Far East. Favorite food is bamboo wrapped sasa dumplings, and she's what they tell us about her is a swordswoman who is journeying to perfect the way of the blade. Classic. She has a stoic personality, yeah, you can tell, and rarely speaks, unless it is to challenge someone she views as a worthy opponent. When she does open her mouth to say something, it's straight to the point and usually dripping with wisdom, so the people around her have taken to calling her sensei. However, even the greatest of senseis do have the occasional brain fart. And a quote is just like, the road you walk is one, and yet its endpoints are myriad. You can still choose where the road takes you. Okay, very deep. So, what do you think, Magus, of this Mio?
Well, well, it's much more of my type of woman character
Okay.
than Neo. I can sense a little bit of Clint Eastwood or Marlon Brando type of vibe, character with few words, of the silent type, but that is very intense. I like the rogue samurai or invested, intense samurai type of character that we get from her, and also the fact that they also mentioned that she also has a certain amount of goof going on, like maybe she's a bit awkward or socially inapt or something like that, and occasionally says something stupid or does something stupid, and that contradicts with her ability with the sword, which makes for some potential fun situations. So yeah, and obviously I like the simple character design that's very effective, as in, well, you can tell that she's deadly with a sword. You don't even need to learn from her background. Just looking at this character, you can see she's kind of a female version of George Prime.
Yes, exactly. Yeah,
And that's very, very cool.
totally agree with the comparison. Yeah, why wasn't I thinking of George Prime? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so sorry, Mio, if there is a new characters in the party, you'll be the first to leave the party, I guess, because the heart of Magus is already taken by.
Well, that's just my playthrough. That's my playthrough. You're allowed to have different favorites.
Yeah.
I won't hold it to you.
We'll see what it gives in the future, and we are almost there to end this long show. I really didn't thought we were about to do such a long episode about this announcement, but I'm very happy to have done so with you. Let's maybe finish with the not the wouldn't say the least interesting, but maybe it's not the first that the players and fans are going to look about. It's the environment. So we have some kind of visuals of the game, so we can guess some of the places. And we have the water stead of Kinja that you can see, you are about to see in just a few seconds here. And I'm going to make Magus sad by making Mio disappear.
No.
Here it is. Sorry. There you go. I'm just disabling just a second my avatar and the one of Magus, so we can have a full vision of it. So it's what is interesting is that we have seen some of the bridges, of course the water of the city. We have some kind of vases on the right, maybe some kind of, I wouldn't say flags, but decoration. I don't know if that's the emblems of the kingdom or something like that. Probably.
Or it seems to be reminiscent of the first design that you showed us at the very beginning with the two characters. That's kind of the token or emblem that represents the game. It seems, the jewel that was on the top, it seems to be similar to that. So I wouldn't be surprised if it was the flags or the armories of the city or the kingdom, where the story starts.
Probably, if you don't remember, there is a lot of there's a huge tradition of flags and emblems in the Suikoden series, from the bear flag from Victor to the Matsuda's flags and so on. So it won't be surprising, like Magus told us, that it's going to be that. And the other one is very interesting visually, and maybe on the telling something about the narratives, because here it is. It's called the Seaside Cavern, and what is interesting, beside of the visuals, we can guess that there is Noah on the left with this wand. What is interesting is that we can probably I see two things with this visuals. Either it's a place where you have to fight some kind of boss, or maybe that's going to be the start of some revelation, or maybe the place where you're going to start your army,
your castle,
or your castle, because Magus was kind enough to remind me that I forgot the castle and the strategic battles as signatures, items and elements in Suikoden. And I really think that this kind of concept art is going to refer to that, and maybe with the screenshot we have seen earlier in this kind of cavern with the big plant. I don't know if what do you think of this visual, Magus?
Pretty much like you, I find it interesting. The wreckage of the boat could point to a ghost, boss battle, or maybe a sea monster type of thing. But there's also some sort of reed around it, so it could be something of a revelation about the past, or about something that happened to the country or the city. And also the fact that it's a big cavern with different holes could point back to the runes that serve as the base for the castle for Suikoden 5. And pretty much any, or even Suikoden 1 with the castle on Lake Toran. So it could be any of these possibilities, and it's an interesting visual. I agree. The big question here is, how did the ship end up in there?
Yes, definitely, and I think that kind of answers the question of Tony Q earlier about the maybe the tributes and homages to Suikoden. I don't think that they are going to be very that obvious, like this character with this name from distant land, but I think they are going to be like the series is very subtle. You see that as a Suikoden fan, you have seen just two people just analyzing it, and we were speaking like 2 or 3 minutes straight about all the possibilities of this kind of landscape. So yeah, I
Yeah,
think
and now that you mentioned that specific part, it could be a reference to the ghost ship that holds Ted in episode 4,
exactly.
and that travels through time and space. So yes, that could be an element of answer or a reference.
Yeah, very interesting point. I agree. Well, I think we are done. I'm looking if I'm forgetting anything, but it won't be the last show. Believe me, you will have if Magus is still as in shape as he is today. We'll probably have other ones. No, I think I didn't got anything. Let me check just in a flash. Here it is. We have the characters, the seaside Karen. No, that's the end of the press kit. So I think we're going to call it a day, guys. In the chat, we just leave you a minute or so while saying goodbye to everyone, to see if you have any question or anything you'd like to share before we discover the Kickstarter tomorrow. So if that's the case, please let us know. Let us know. And
Well,
Magus.
in any case, yes, thank you all for participating in the
Yeah,
in the podcast, for all our viewers, and thank you, Diz, for having me. And I would be more than happy to join you again in the future to talk about Eiyuden or Suikoden.
I'm always so happy to find people as talkative as I am, and to reward you is let's get back to Mio, and maybe we'll end with her. So I think here's George Karma. Thank you. Well, that was a pleasure, and we'll see what the Kickstarter. I agree will bring us tomorrow. You can find us and join us literally on the Suikocast here with you have all the social medias. There is a Facebook page, a Twitter page, an Instagram page, and also the very important the YouTube channel. Please subscribe and activate the notification to get all the new videos, all the replays. There is also I'm very lucky these days, but because the Suikocast actually is 1 month old, and I was happy to was one of the chosen one to get an interview with the people who started all. But also before that, I was very happy and lucky to get an interview with Jeremy Blaustein. Jeremy Blaustein, if the name doesn't ring a bell, is actually he worked on the Suikoden 2 localization. So he's a very great guy, very funny guy, and he was kind enough to be with me. And Andy Klim, another localization veteran and huge Suikoden fan. So we have to at some point make a meeting with Magus right here to discuss Suikoden and Eiyuden Chronicle. So that's it for us. Take good care of yourself, and we see you around in the following days. Bye bye.
Bye bye.